Hi everyone, happy Monday. Thanks for tuning in. If you are new, my name is Stephanie Nash and I am the creative coach and designer behind all things Inspire Me. Thank you so much for watching. Mondays are always my favorite day of the week because I get to spend them with you. Tonight we have two cards that we're going to make. One is using a stamp set that is on the last chance list and it will be retiring at the end of the month. Actually, May 3rd is the last day to purchase. And then the other is a brand new stamp set that will be in the upcoming catalog available on May the 4th. I know you're gonna love both projects. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so flipping the workstation around, the first set we're going to use today is Good Morning Magnolia. And I forgot to mention that if you are tuning in, be sure to share the video as I do a draw every week for those who share, and you will earn the cards that we're going to make tonight. Last week we made 2 cards and a 3D project. And those will be going out to Sonia, who was the lucky winner. Congratulations, Sonia. So the first stamp set, as I mentioned, is called Good Morning Magnolia. It is a 2-piece set, and it is so beautiful. I'm really disappointed the set is going, and so I had to create with it a few more times before it goes away. So tonight I'm going to be using this large bloom as well as the hello to create our first card. So I'm just going to put the set to the side and I'm going to pull in the sample for you. So this is the card I designed. It was part of a sketch challenge I recently participated in. And while I like this, I find it's a little too green. So I've changed out the DSP ever so slightly on the one we're going to be making tonight. So we're going to start with a piece of Blushing Bride cardstock as our base. And I've got our stamps already on my blocks. Hi, Nancy. All right. So here are my supplies. So I have Blushing Bride as my base, and it measures 8.5 by 5.5. It's a standard A2 card size, or quarter fold, whatever you'd like to call it. I'm going to fold that in half and just give it a good fold with my bone folder here. I like that nice crisp fold so it lies flat. Next, I have a piece of Just Jade, and this is 5 1/4 by 4 inches. But before I attach that to my base, I do want to do some embossing. So I am going to move some things out of the way here because I do need the full-size Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to do this. So we're going to open this up. And because we're embossing, and it's a 3D embossing folder I'm using, I need the platform, which is my 1, and then I also need a 4. So we're just going to create a sandwich. I'm using the Subtles 3D embossing folder, which is also on the last chance list. I'm really disappointed about this one because I use it a lot. And so I'm just going to put that inside. I'm going to put the hinged edge going into the machine, and then I'm going to put the number 4 right on top, and then I'm just going to crank that through. Hi, Corrine. And that just adds a little bit of subtle texture, hence the name, to that piece of cardstock. I'm not sure how well the camera is going to pick that up, but hopefully you can see it. And then I'm just going to put the machine away. I will need to do some more cutting, but I think I can use the mini machine for the rest. I'm going to pull my base back in, and we have our Just Jade. And now I have a piece of Designer Series paper. So you can see I changed it from the original sample here. And this is the Forever Greenery DSP, which is retiring as well. So you'll notice a trend here. And I'm also going to change it up. I have the ribbon underneath the DSP on my sample, but I'm going to put it over top. So I'm going to attach this to my Just Jade piece. And you'll notice I haven't attached the Just Jade to the Blushing Bride as of yet, because I want to tuck the ends of the ribbon around the back of it. So just a little bit of Stampin' Seal, give that a good rub, make sure it's attached nice. And I've left about 1/4 inch border all the way around. And then I am using the Metallic Blushing Bride ribbon. This is in the mini catalog and it's still available. And I'm going to place that across the front of my card, and you'll notice the ends come over, and that's so that I can attach it around the back. So I don't wrap it all the way around. I just do the ends, securing them with my seal. And then I'm going to attach that piece of Just Jade now to the card base. And I am being a little more generous with the adhesive than I normally am, just because I want it to stay attached. Hi Cora, thanks for joining. So this should leave about 1/8 inch border of the Blushing Bride. I'm just going to turn that over and give it a good rub. So it's peeking through there, so you can see how the tone on tone is coming together. So next I have a piece of basic white, and this is 2.5 by 3.5, and it's going to be what we stamp our bloom on. And you'll see that my bloom is hanging off the block, so I would normally use a larger block for this, but because I don't want the whole image, I'm not overly concerned with it. So I'm going to ink this up in my Memento ink. Really just getting the center. But make sure you have a piece of scrap paper underneath it so you don't wreck your work surface. And we're just going to stamp that in the middle of that piece of basic white. And again, it's okay if it comes off the edges. So there we have that big, beautiful Magnolia bloom. Of course, it wouldn't be a project if I didn't have some sort of coloring. So I've pulled in some Stampin' blends. Now, normally I would want to use a Blushing Bride blend, but I don't have that. So I'm going to use Petal Pink. And when I'm using blends, I like to start dark and go light, but you can go opposite. Hi, Val. Aw, thanks so much. And the ink is actually still a little bit wet, so it's picking that up, but I'm just going to go over with the dark where there would be some natural shadows. And this image is actually really good for this because it has those dark sections already in the image. So I'm just adding the dark color to that. And it doesn't have to be pretty. We're just going to add that shading, and then I'm going to go over that with the lighter color. I'm just going to use a circular motion here, and you can color the whole thing, you can just color accent pieces of it, however you want to work that. So Magnolias traditionally aren't all one color, they have those pink tips or little bits of pink poking through, so that's what I'm trying to duplicate with my shading here. But again, you can do as much or as little as you want when you're coloring. And then I have a dark So Saffron to do the center, just to get the stamen. And then of course we have our leaves, so Just Jade to match our Just Jade cardstock, and again where the shading on the image already is for us, I'm going to go in with my dark blend, and you can see I'm not really being super careful, staying within my lines, but I'm not too worried about where the color hits because I can blend it out. How's everybody's day today? Are you having a great start to the week? It's kind of gray and gloomy here in Hamilton. The sun poked out every so often, but for the most part it was pretty gray. And it was cold today compared to some of the nicer weather we've had. So I'm just going to fill in with the light Just Jade. blending in those lines if I don't want them to be too harsh. And this just creates those light and dark shadows and highlights. Couple more leaves. There we are. So the blends actually color really quickly, which is nice. So we're going to attach this to our card base, overlapping our DSP and our ribbon, and we're going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to attach that. I'm just going to apply those dimensionals. And if you haven't used these before, they're just little pieces of foam. They're double-sided adhesive. So once you peel them off the package of dimensionals, then you just peel off the little paper backs to reveal the other side of the adhesive. And to live up to their name, they add dimension to the piece that you're applying to your card. There we go. It's coming together nicely, and I do like the lighter DSP in behind. I just found this one was a little too dark. So next we want to stamp our greetings. So we're using the hello, and this is from the same stamp set, Good Morning Magnolia. I'm just going to ink that in Memento. And I'm going to stamp it on a scrap piece of basic white because we are going to cut this out. And I am using the Tasteful Label dies, and I'm using the larger circle. So these are the dies. So I'm using the large circle here to cut that out. Hi, Debbie. So I'm going to pull in my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss here. And I did not have my plates ready, so I'll reach for those. So you're just going to center that in your die, and then you're going to put your other plate on top and run that through the machine. Nancy, great question. What is the difference between the blends and the markers? So the Stampin' Blends are alcohol markers, and they are designed for coloring and shading, and they won't tear your paper. Let me grab a marker. So these are the Stampin' Right markers versus our Stampin' Blends. And so you can color with our markers. They're great. They don't blend very well together, for one. And you can see if I start going over this in the same spot, the paper's getting thinner and thinner, and it's actually going to tear. And it leaves those lines when you're coloring. Where with my Stampin' Blend, it doesn't matter how many times I go over it in the same spot, it's not going to tear my paper. And you don't notice those harsh lines. So that's the main difference between them. They each have their purpose. What I really like markers for is fine details where I don't need to blend, but also inking your stamp. So if I wanted to stamp our greeting in a color that maybe I didn't have, or if it was a multi-word greeting and I only wanted to highlight a portion of the word, you can actually ink up your stamp with the marker. So you'll notice that the markers have a pen tip and then a brush tip. You can use the brush tip on its side to ink up your stamp. And these are water-based markers, so I just huffed on it. And there we have our image in the color that we stamped. So those are your primary differences between the two. They both have their place. It just depends on what you're hoping to accomplish with it. And I don't think the camera's going to pick this up, but here where I colored with the marker, the paper has actually kind of bubbled. And here with the Stampin' Blend, it's still smooth and ready to go. Hi, Julie. Thanks for joining. All right. So back to our sentiment. I'm pulling in my Blushing Bride ink now and a sponge dauber. And I'm just going to gently sponge the edges of that circle. Just to pull that Blushing Bride color in one more time. Oh, you're very welcome, Nancy. I'm glad you were able to learn something tonight. So there is our now sponged circle. And we're going to attach this with dimensionals again, but because it's going to overlap the image here, and this has already been popped off the front, we need to double up. So what I'm going to do is, I think it's going to go about there. So on the corner that's going to go on the label here, I'm only going to use a single dimensional. But if I do that, it's going to be kind of wobbly. So now I need double dimensionals to support that. And how you double your dimensionals is you're going to put one down, peel off the back, and then layer another one right on top. So we're going to do that twice. Then we're going to peel off the backings and be able to stick that to our card front like so, and now it's fully supported, no wobbles. Life is good. And then of course I like to finish everything off with a little bit of bling. So I am using these opal rounds. These are also in the mini catalog. And I'm going to use the smaller of the two sizes here, just to add a little something something to our card. So there we have the first card of the night, using two different DSPs, but both from the same paper pack, which is the Forever Greenery. It is on the last chance list. I believe it's still available, but it's only available while supplies last, or until May 3rd, whichever happens to come first. So there is project number 1. And again, that was the Good Morning Magnolia 2-piece stamp set. And there are some great sentiments in there as well, but I kept it simple with just a hello for tonight. So I'm just going to get all of this out of the way, and then I'm going to do card number 2 with us. I don't have a sample of this, but I think I know exactly what I want to do, and it's going to come together really well. So I'll grab some supplies here. So for this one, I'm combining gray granite with petal pink. They are one of my favorite color combinations. I just love them. And I feel like I'm missing something. It'll come to me. All right. Thanks, Nancy. It does come together really fast when you have a plan and you know what you want to do. And sketches are great for that. If you don't participate in sketch challenges, or you haven't found some staple sketches to keep in your arsenal, I definitely recommend that, because they make card making so easy. Basically, it's literally a sketch that gives you idea of elements and placements, and then you interpret that, making it your own. So for this card, I'm using gray granite as my base. It's a standard 8.5 by 5.5, folded to be 5.5 by 4.25. And then I have a piece of petal pink, which is 4 inches by 5.25, and we're going to attach that right to the base using our Stampin' seal. And this should leave an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Love that. So then I have 2 pieces of DSP here, and these are both from the Peony Garden Designer Series paper pack. So you can see where I've got my colors. It's the gray granite and the petal pink. So this one is, it looks kind of marbly, and so this I'm going to attach to the base using the seal. And I'm going to put it right about there, leaving that 1/4 inch gap along the left side. Next, I have a piece of gray granite cardstock measuring 1.5 by 4. So this is going to get layered right on top here. And then I'm going to put this piece of Designer Series paper measuring 1 7/8, sorry, no, 1 3/8 by 4 right on top of that gray granite. So you can see I'm pulling all the colors together. So I'm going to attach this first. And this was another sketch that I found and decided to implement. And so this piece now is going to get attached right on top. So we're just creating layers. So there we have quick and easy base. Amazing how your pattern paper can work to create a great focal point. And as I mentioned in the description, we are using a new stamp set tonight. So this is not yet available for customers. It is available if you are a demonstrator. You can include it on your pre-order, or if you are thinking about joining Stampin' Up, you can get it in your kit. It's called Inspired Thoughts, and it's all sentiments. And we're going to use this one here. It's your time to be remembered, to feel appreciated, and to know you're celebrated. Because I think this is a great sentiment to have given our current situation. Maybe you want to give it to a frontline worker or somebody you know that is going out of their way to make others feel appreciated during these crazy, unprecedented times. So I was using this set earlier, which is why I wanted to clean that off. So we're going to stamp that in gray granite on basic white. I just like to make sure it's nice and well covered. So there's our sentiment. But of course I want to cut this out. So I'm going to pull in the mini machine again. And let's use my retiring favorite, the Stitched Shapes dies. So sad these are going. And I know I say that all the time, but it's true. And I want that one because that's the one that's going to fit our sentiment. So that is the second largest circle in the collection. So we are going to cut that out. Where did I do with my plates? There they are. So we're just going to make sure that that's pretty much centered around our sentiment. We're going to run it through the machine. I'm going to put that to the side. Look how fantastic that is. I am seriously going to miss these dies. I love that stitched detail around the edge. It's just so pretty. And we're going to layer that right on top using dimensionals. But before we do that, I've got a piece of gray granite shimmer ribbon. This is in the annual catalog, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there's just a hint of sparkle in that ribbon, which is so pretty. And what I want to do is actually put it underneath the circle so it's peeking out. And I've probably cut too long a piece, which is okay because we can trim it. So what I'm just going to do is turn over my circle. I'm going to give it a line or two of Stampin' Seal. Fold my ribbon in half. And then I'm going to figure out where I want that to come out, which I think is right about there. I'm just going to give that a good rub to make sure it's where it needs to be. And before I trim the tails to the desired length, I'm going to use dimensionals to pop this off the base. And I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals over top of any adhesive that might still be poking through. Just so if it gets squished in mailing, it doesn't end up sticking to the card base. I think I like that there. So then I'm going to pull in my paper snips And I'm just going to give these tails a trim, like so. You know what? I think I want to go shorter. Yes. And I had thought about using the elegant faceted gems on this one, but I only have 2 of these rosy colored ones. So I'm going to use our regular rhinestones. And they take your pick tool. So I'm going to use one of the larger, I guess is a medium size, and a smaller one. And then another small one down there. So there is our second card of the night. Apparently I can't count. So that is, again, Petal Pink Gray Granite, and then this is the Peony Garden DSP, which is on the retiring list. I'm going to show you another card I did using the sketch. So this is a little sneak peek for you. So this is, so the sketch actually had a square image, so that's why I've used a square, and I changed it up over here with a circle. And this is the new Fresh Freesia in color, as well as the Pansy Designer Series paper, which is just so pretty. And then you'll notice some rhinestones here, which are Fresh Freesia, and then Polished Pink, which is the new pink in color. So those are some cards. And again, we've got our Good Morning Magnolia cards for this evening. And I'm going to come back around and talk to you. And I remembered to unmute my mic. I hope you enjoyed those projects tonight. I certainly had fun designing them. It's a short and sweet live because I've been battling a headache for the last 3 days, and I didn't want to miss my time with you, but I think I am going to call it an early night and head to bed. But before I do that, just some reminders. Card Club is still available to register for the May session. It will be using the Handsomely Suited bundle, so there'll be some great Father's Day and masculine cards to add to your collection. I have Stampin' Bingo. Spaces are filling up. The date for that is Saturday, June 5th. You will play 5 bingo games. There will be 4 make and takes, which will actually be using the stamp set that we used tonight, the Inspired Thoughts. And you will also receive a goodie bag with at least $20 worth of Stampin' Up! Products inside. So lots of goodies, and then there's door prizes and all sorts of fun to be had. So that is open for registration on my website, www.inkspireme.com. Ordering specials. If you order with me before Friday and spend a minimum of $35 using the host code up here, you will automatically receive the supplies to make the cards that we made tonight. If your order is $49 or more before tax and shipping, not only will you get the package of supplies for the make and take packet tonight, but you'll also earn my deal of the week. Currently it is some enamel jewels called Trimming the Town, which is on the clearance rack. There will be a new deal starting tomorrow, so if that's something that entices you, stay tuned for that. As always, I have ink blots rewards of all sorts on my website, www.inkspireme.com/rewards, to find the full collection. And I'm always looking to grow my team. If you love crafting and you are looking for a community of like-minded souls that you can have fun with and be creative with, then my team is looking to add you to it. We have monthly meetings, there's trainings, there's all sorts of events, and of course the discount on your own craft supplies is always a bonus. There's never any pressure to sell, and if you just want to join for the community and camaraderie, then we are happy to have you. You do not need to be doing what I am doing unless you choose to, in which case you have my support 110% of the way. So that is everything for this evening. Thank you so much for joining. I love you all, and I appreciate you every single day. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Bye.